Welcome to the Beyond Sugar Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Dame, holistic nutrition coach and speaker. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to another episode. Today's episode, I'm sharing a massive list of all of the tools and resources that I have personally used on my journey with food and my journey to sugar freedom. This has been a long time coming. I always get people asking me, what have you done, Danny? What exactly did you do? What worked for you? What resources and healing and tools did you use on your journey? And I'm really excited to be finally recording this episode for all of you who are curious about that or asking that question. So really exciting episode in store for you today. And when I was sitting down actually making this list, thinking back over the last 6 years of my life and 6 years of my journey, and compiling a list of all the things that I've done, the experiences I've had, the tools I've used, the energy healing that I've done, all the things that I'm going to share with you. And there's almost 30 items here. This is a big list. So I'm not going to spend too much time, obviously, explaining each of them, but I'm going to just share with you quickly, hopefully, how each of these have impacted and shifted my journey and my unfolding of building a really healthy relationship with food and a healthy relationship with myself. Now, before I dive in and share all of this with you, a quick reminder, if you haven't already heard, or maybe this is the first episode you're listening to, I am in the middle of preparing all the final details to open up registration and host my signature 10-week Break Free from Sugar group program again in just a couple weeks in early fall. And I'm so excited to be sharing all of the things that I'm creating with all of you very soon. And I just wanted to send a big reminder for anybody out there who's listening to this that has been struggling for probably their whole lives. If you're listening to this and you've been on every diet and you've tried giving up sugar and you've tried building a healthy relationship with food and you feel like you just keep failing time and time again, then I really encourage you to come and get your name on the wait list for my upcoming program, because what I do and how I teach and how I guide women into really connecting deeply with themselves and trusting their bodies again and breaking free from sugar in the process of that, when we come together and heal our root causes, our root pieces that are ultimately the subconscious patterns and traumas and imprints that are driving us to turn to sugar and turn to food. This is how we actually create lasting change and lasting freedom. And this is why I created the Break Free from Sugar program 5 years ago. It's changed so much since, and I'm actually recreating the whole program this fall for everyone who's there with me, to bring even more depth and more knowledge and more wisdom and more teachings from all these tools that I'm about to share with you, these tools that I've learned. This program is such an accumulation of everything that I have personally experienced and everything that I've witnessed in my clients that is mandatory to create a lifelong change when it comes to how we relate to food and creating this sense of peace and freedom with food. So if you want peace and freedom with food and you want to finally feel in control of sugar and not have cravings control your life every day, and you want to feel alive and connected and trusting of your body, then I hope you'll join us. And I hope that for now, you're going to get your name on the wait list, which you can find in the show notes below. And you'll be the first to be notified when I release all the juicy details. So I know you might have a lot of questions about the program, and there's so many things that I'm changing from the time that I hosted it last year that I'm really, really excited to share with all of you as well. So get your name on the wait list. If you're at all curious, if there's a part of you that's like, that sounds interesting, get your name on the wait list. Okay. You're not obliged to join. The wait list is just a way for you to be sure that you get the opportunity and get notified first when I release all the details. So get your name on there, and I hope to see you in the program. It's going to be absolutely incredible. I host this once a year, and don't want you to miss out on this round because it's really such an incredible journey that we go through together, and I would love to see you there. Okay, let's dive into today. And I really want to start this off by by really deeply conveying that there is no one way to break free from sugar, and there is no one path for everyone. I know it's so common for us to ask that question, like, well, what's the exact steps I have to take? Or what's the exact thing, I'm just going to learn what Danny did and I'm going to just copy it and it's going to work for me too. We have to really begin understanding, and it's a really tough pill to swallow because we want the step-by-step guide, but we have to start understanding that we are all so unique in our mindset, our body, our cells, our energy, our everything, our lifestyle, our personality, our tendencies, everything is so unique about each and every one of us, which also means that your path and your journey to sugar freedom is going to look different. Now, I also really want to hit home, and this is so important because I still have clients that struggle with this, really deeply reminding all of you that the path to food freedom or the path to any sort of growth and goal in our life is not a straight line. It is full of ups and downs. Anybody here who's ever looked at a stock market chart or any sort of, graph like that, you'll see that there's ups and downs, ups and downs, ups, downs, ups, downs. And sometimes the downs are bigger than the ups, and sometimes the ups are bigger than the downs. There's this wild roller coaster that we go on when we're working towards growth, and especially when it comes to our relationship with food. So please remember that that is part of the journey. And if we actually began to chart, and I see this with my clients, right? They're doing great and maybe they have a blip, right? And they have a down day or a binge day, and we get to learn from that and then go back up from that. And over time, what you see, if we could graph our journey to sugar freedom, at least in my programs and the work that I do, you see that it's full of ups and downs. There's lots of growth. There's lots of oopsies and it's not a straight line, right? But when you step back and look at the full graph, you'll see that there's always an upward trend. There's always a growth when we are committed to this journey and healing. So I just want to remind all of you that maybe you've tried things in the past and maybe you're feeling discouraged because you're in a down piece right now, but I really just want to remind you that you're not the same person you were yesterday. And everything that you do on a daily basis shifts you in some way into a different version of yourself, hopefully a better version of yourself, more connected and healthier version of yourself. And just remember, I think that's so important for all of us to give ourselves a break. Remember that the slip-ups, I don't even call them that, are literally a mandatory part on your journey. The failures are how we learn. I do a lot of work, and we're going to dive deep into this in the Break Free from Sugar program, a lot of work around our fear of failure and fear of success and how we make that define us, and really rewiring how we see that really helps us wrap our head around exactly this, that those times we might not be doing our best are a mandatory part on this journey. So when we can approach it with that actual belief and a mindset and compassion for those times, we can actually take the lessons from it and obviously be kinder to ourselves and flow, more effortlessly instead of beating ourselves up, because we've beat ourselves up long enough and it's not working. I dare any one of you to send me an email who has been beating themselves up and fighting against themselves for decades, and it's worked. I would love it if you prove me wrong. Has that worked? And I have never met a human being who that's worked for. This fight, the beating up, the constant inner battle is destroying us. And it's actually leading us to binge harder, to eat more sugar, to sabotage more. So when we can find a way to be easeful and peaceful and really embrace this journey for what it is with the right guidance. And this is so important. We need to be in the right safe community and safe space without judgment and really where we can feel like we can be vulnerable and open in this journey is really mandatory, 100% mandatory. So I just want to say those reminders, right? That your path is not going to be the same as my path or your friend's path to sugar freedom. And your path is going to be riddled with ups and downs. And the sooner you can embrace that and accept that and make peace with that, the quicker you're going to actually get there. The resistance that we have around those, say, low points, maybe you have a bad week, you go on vacation, you eat too much sugar, and you spend a month beating yourself up about it and going deeper and deeper into the hole versus embracing that, coming back after that vacation and getting right back on track. So you're going to get there a lot quicker if you make peace with that. And it's easier said than done, which is why we do all of this mindset work in the upcoming program. So I'm sharing this list today with all of you, and it was really fun for me to create. I'm sharing this list with all of you because I want you to know that I'm human too. I want you to know that I've tried it all. Okay, not all of it. There's always more to try. So I hate that statement when people are like, I've done everything. No, you haven't. We've never done everything. It's just impossible. We don't have enough time on this planet to actually do everything, but I've done a lot and I've experienced a lot. And this is why, my programs and the coaching and support that I bring to the world and my clients and the women who join my programs is that I'm teaching from a place of having actually experienced all of these tools personally. And some of them have worked for me more than others. Some I still work with, some I don't need anymore. And that shifts and flows for all of us. So I don't want you to get overwhelmed when I share this list. I'm simply wanting this to inspire you to maybe embrace how much you actually have already done and grown. It's so easy for us to say, well, I haven't done much, or I haven't grown much. I'm not making much progress. I call BS to all of us on that. We have made so much more progress than we think we have, even if it doesn't feel like we're in a good space. We're still learning and growing. And I want this list that I'm about to share with you to maybe spark some new ideas. There's going to be a lot of what I share that maybe you've never heard of in your life before. And that's great. Now you can go and do some research for yourself. I want to just plant the seed. I'm not going to share about the ins and outs of what all these are, but go and do your own research and look at, hey, maybe I want to try this for myself. Maybe this is something that if it's something that you intuitively feel called to, that sounds really interesting, Danny. I would like to try that myself. Great. Go and do it. Go and do it. And just know that all of these, let's see here, 27 items that I'm going to share with you, and maybe some others that come up as I'm talking, they all contributed in one way or another to my freedom from food and my spiritual growth, my personal growth, my new mindset, my new identity, all these inner pieces and shifts that I've made for myself over the last 6 years. Every single one of them have contributed, maybe in a little way, maybe in a big way. So really important to understand that, there's not one tool. There's not one thing. And in any given day or moment, you might need a different tool. Like I said, there are some things that I really deeply needed at the beginning of my journey, and now I absolutely don't need. Right? And now there's new things that I need for where I'm at. So allowing this ebb and flow, and definitely not saying you have to do all 27 things in the next year. That's a lot. This is literally stuff I've done over the last 6 years. So please know that I just want to share all of this as resources for you. I want you to really listen with your heart and your gut in this. If you feel called to something that I share, go and research it. Look into it. Maybe there's something there for you. So I want that to inspire you, and also to know that this is all of the knowledge at a deep understanding, because I've been through it, that I bring into my work with my clients. And I'm going to be bringing in and actually sharing a lot of these resources more in depth in the upcoming Break Free from Sugar program. So for anyone who's in there, you're going to get access to some of these tools and some experts that are here to actually teach these tools at a much bigger level than I'll ever be able to explain. So that's really important for you to understand before I dive into this. So let's do it though. Let's dive into this list. Who's ready? Who is ready for this awesome list? I'm hoping that some more things come up as I start talking, because I know there's more. I was really feeling into, okay, what else have I done in the last 6 years? And I know there's other things. I know I'm forgetting some things. So I hope they come to me. I'm inviting them in. I'm inviting them in right now as I'm talking to all of you. Okay, so first up, the first two pieces here that were huge tools and continue to be huge tools is, number one, having mentors. I have mentors both for my business growth and for health, and my health and healing and my inner healing. Also, coaches. So I've worked with multiple coaches in different areas, and it's been really, really important for me to see my blind spots. As you know, I'm a coach. I advocate everybody should have a coach to help us see areas of our subconscious and of our patterns that we just can never see because we're so in our own head, right? So having a coach is so powerful and has been really important to me. I've also worked with therapists. I have, she's kind of like a coach / therapist that I work with ongoing at different times when I need more versus less. When I'm going through big growth, I obviously lean on these things a lot more than I, do when I'm doing well. So it ebbs and flows, but that's definitely something that I've worked with. And I think it's so important. We have such a stigma around that in our society, and it's needs to stop. Everybody needs some sort of coach or therapist or support in their everyday life. That's 100% a belief of mine. I think it's so important. We grow so much faster when we have that support from somebody who's trained. I've also done hypnosis for rewiring subconscious belief patterns. Really powerful. I'd actually like to do some more of that. I've dabbled here and there with it on and off, and it's really, people are always asking me, how do I change my belief patterns? There's a couple tools here that I'm sharing that are really important in helping with that, and hypnosis is one of them because you get into the brain wave state that you were when you were a child, when those belief systems and patterns were first downloaded into your brain. So you can actually go in and rewire them a lot quicker. I've also obviously used meditation and hypnosis. I already said hypnosis, visualizations, meditation and visualizations, playing with the mind, stilling the mind, being more connected with my subconscious mind, planting new seeds, visualizations of, the future I want, the house I want, the things that I want to call into my life. So been definitely using those for 6 years on and off, sometimes more than others. Right now I'm in a period where I'm not formally meditating, but I'm going outside every morning and spending time in my garden as my meditation instead of more formal. So it ebbs and flows depending on what I need and what moment I'm in. Also, a big tool that always has helped me really connect deep with myself and my body, and connecting to loving my body and embracing my body has been dance, music and dance. So I do on and off ecstatic dance. I've been to lots of, dance events, and just even in my own home, having dance parties, connecting with my body in that way, and bringing in music. Music is so healing. I love the slogan, music is medicine. And for me, that has been a really big part of my journey, bringing in a lot of sacred music, bringing in some good dance music. And it's why we start all of our community calls with some movement and with dance and with music. So that has been a really important part of the journey. Another tool I've used is women's circles, the power of gathering with other women. I've been to many different types and different places and locations and with different women. And there's something powerful about gathering together with intention with other women and being vulnerable and open and connected, in that also. Oh, here's one I forgot, right? Like full moon ceremonies and like just ceremony in general, cacao ceremonies. Like I've been a part of a lot of ceremonies that have really helped me connect deeper with myself, which ultimately has been a very important piece of this journey as I heal my relationship with food. I've also done a lot of programs. I've done a lot of online programs, both around health and around business, just around mindset, around, helping me really shift the way that I show up, shift the way that I operate and think and learn, all those things. So similar to what I'm going to be offering, the Break Free from Sugar program that's coming up in September. So courses and programs can be really, really powerful and helpful if they're set up properly, and you can have the accountability of a group. I've done programs in almost all areas of my life, whether it was intimacy and sexuality or business or health and wellness, like all of it. I've also, theta healing is another tool that I've used. And this is something that I just dabbled in. I didn't do a lot of work here, but I sense that it could be really powerful for a lot of people. And it's something that I would love to revisit one day. It's just, there's a lot out there. There's a lot going on, right? So I'm allowing that to flow back into my life when it feels more aligned. But theta healing, definitely do your own research. It's been a while since I've done it, but it's a really powerful energy healing tool that you work with a practitioner, and they actually help you go into the depth of your belief systems and help rewire. So it's another tool similar to hypnosis, where you can go into these theta brainwave states and access and shift belief systems so that you can show up differently. I've also done, all the energy healing. I've done Reiki, I've done cranial sacral therapy, any sort of energy movement, energy healing techniques. Again, working with a practitioner have been really powerful in helping clear blockages in my chakras and my energy centers. I've done acupuncture, right? Massage, like body work and energy healing, I think are a really important part of this process to help you, move things through the body, right? To help release stuck emotions, to release stagnant energy so that you can think clearer, right? And your brain can operate better and your body can operate better and you can make better healthy choices. So those are some definite things that I can't recommend enough. Another big tool for me, along with music, has actually been using my voice. So chanting, I love going to kirtan. It's something that I want to do more of, but I also here at home, like I have a playlist actually on my phone of chanting music and different songs that are like kind of sacred sing-alongs, we can call them. And I often do that when I'm in the sauna. It's a very sacred space for me to just activate my voice and sing these beautiful songs from the heart. And it really unlocks a lot of energy, and it really has opened my throat chakra and helped me learn to speak my truth, and just all the blockages that we have in our throat chakra from like learning to express ourselves, to be heard. All this stuff really gets loosened when we activate, when we sing, when we chant. So some sort of singing and chanting practice, I think, is really, really important as we learn to vocalize our needs, vocalize, our truth, all of that stuff. Retreats. I've been to multiple retreats, yoga retreats, meditation retreats, throughout the years, places where, other amazing humans are there to grow and learn and connect with themselves. Breath work is another really important tool. There's many different styles of breath work. And when I say breath work, I'm not talking about yogic pranayama, which is, breathing techniques that you'll do in maybe a yoga class, but I'm talking about in-depth, breath work. There's neurodynamic breath work. There's holotropic breath work. There's conscious connected breathing breath work, which is what I just did recently at a retreat I was at. So there's lots of different styles of breath work, but it's a very deep, deep, deep way to access the subconscious and release emotions, and also to plant new beliefs, right? To rewire those old patterns that are no longer serving you. Highly recommend breath work. Yoga as well, obviously, going to the yoga retreats, doing yoga. Yoga is such a beautiful way to connect with the body, connect with your breath, learn to be more present, right? And in every practice, you're repatterning your body in so many ways, depending on the yoga practice. So that's been a very important part of just my health, and mental and physical. I've also done some tapping. I know this is really huge and really supportive for a lot of people in rewiring beliefs. The emotional freedom technique, which is tapping. A lot of people know it as that. This is something that I've dabbled in. I haven't dove really deep into, and something that I would definitely love to resurrect and bring more back into. But it's, really, really powerful tool in your journey. So look into that if that's something that you're interested in. It can be a really great daily practice for yourself. You can do alone. You don't have to have a practitioner, which some of these things you do have to have a practitioner, right? Or have somebody to support you with. So it's really nice to have a blend of things that you can definitely do on your own at home, and also making sure to have some spaces where you can invite in support from others, because we could so easily get blocked in our own head, and we need another human there to help shake us out of that. I've also, some of the most profound and important work that I've done that shifted for me has been various plant medicine ceremonies, and also psychedelic therapy. So this is something that I don't talk a lot about, and I am finally becoming ready to more and more speak about, because it is hands down the most profound healing that I've ever experienced in my whole life. And there's a big movement happening now for more and more of this in the world. And I believe every human can benefit from this type of work. And I'm going to do a whole episode on this and invite in actually my guide and my medicine woman to speak to all of you in this space and help bust some myths about what's going on there, and share my own story, of course, with how healing that was for me. So those are two separate but connected, huge tools that I've used and I continue to use to this day, very deeply. The other thing that is, a tool, less of a tool, more of a practice that has been monumental in connecting with myself and my relationship with food and everything that comes from that, right, is my solo retreats, my Dani retreats. So for those who don't know this already about me, every 3 months or so, I prioritize taking myself away alone on a getaway. So whether it's camping when the weather's nice, or renting an Airbnb and just going and isolating, essentially. I go and no technology. Sometimes, usually I'll bring in fasting. Like, I want to just really deeply, it's like a mini reset and a mini, detox and retreat for me to connect more deeper with myself. And it's in those retreats that I always get the best insights, because when we're in stillness, and here's another one I'm adding to the list. Stillness is a tool. Learning how to be in silence and stillness at the same time. Doing nothing, listening to nothing, being totally in the present moment. The more we do that, the more our intuition speaks to us. And this is what I do in these solo retreats, is I let myself get bored. And I let myself just be and sit with a cup of tea, watching nature, right? Doing nothing. And I let my inner voice finally speak up. When we're busy all the time, we're never going to be able to hear the answers that we already have within ourselves. So this is my role as a coach, and what I really passionately do in the Break Free from Sugar program is helping women connect with this part of themselves, learning to slow down, learning to be more in stillness, learning to be more in tune with your innate wisdom, your intuition, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, your gut instinct, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same. Right? It's this inner voice that knows your path, knows what's right for you, knows what works and what doesn't work for you. And we have to stop and listen in our world that is so busy and constantly bombarding us. We're in our head all day long, and we're disconnected from our heart. We're disconnected from our gut. And when we get in stillness, and when I take myself away on these solo retreats, that is when, I'm maybe challenged, struggling with something, or really having a hard time. And it's in those moments that I get the answers I need. Oh, this is what I need to do. Or, oh, that's what I need to let go of. Or, these are the pieces that need to shift. So really recommend that. That's been a huge piece of my journey. And I continue to use that. It's also been a huge part of getting to know myself. Most of us have no idea who we really are. We've never actually hung out with ourselves. And it's uncomfortable at first. For sure. It's weird. You're like, okay, what do I do now? But it's very important, and it's very eye-opening, especially when we start bringing in questions about food and start spending some time with our journal in those spaces. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. You're worth it. Music festivals are another one. I know I just recorded an episode recently about that, about my lessons from music festivals, but this is something new in my life, relatively new, and absolutely mind-blowingly transformational. Talk about being in community with people who unconditionally love and accept you, even though they don't even know you. It has been such a healing and beautiful tool and resource for me that I'm going to continue leaning into, because every single time I attend one of these festivals, my mind and my heart get blown wide open. And it's really important for me. So that's definitely something that's still very, very present in my process and in my journey. Next up is emotion code healing. I work with a practitioner, and she's amazing. She's been on the podcast before talking about emotion code. So you can look back. I forget the episode number. Look back to the beginning of the podcast here, and you'll find emotion code with Siobhan, where we talk all about emotion code. And essentially, this is an energy healing technique that helps remove stuck and blocked emotions from your cells. We all have emotions that are stuck in our body. We live a life of suppressing our emotions, which is why we numb out with food. That's the whole conversation for another day. But we need to be able to release these emotions, this emotional baggage that we all carry, because if we don't, it leads to disease. Again, a whole nother episode. There's so much research and study being done on actually how much of that baggage we hold on to that actually literally changes this molecular structure of our cells and leads to disease. So it is our responsibility to learn as an adult now to process emotions in a healthy way, and to also go back and release some of those ones from childhood, some of those ones from past lives, all that stuff. We need to release that shit. And Emotion Code is one of many tools to do that. And it's just something that I use, that I really enjoy. And I still do that, on occasion when I feel like I'm going through a lot and I really need some things released. I work with her, and it's been very helpful for me. A lot of people have had some beautiful, beautiful results with that. So Emotion Code. Also reflexology, again, kind of in the energy healing, reflexology treatments where releasing stuck energy in the body is really important to help stay connected with yourself. Fasting and cleansing, of course, are tools that I've used as well. Both intermittent fasting and longer fasting. I think I've made it to 2 days. I haven't pushed myself past that yet, but it's definitely something that I'm working up towards. Cleansing as well, I've done a couple 3-week cleanses, really just deep clean eating, deep nourishing, to heal my gut and clean out my body, clean out my cells. And in those fasting and cleansing, how those have been such a powerful tool for me is it's really forced me to look deeper at my relationship with food. So every time food is not an option, or you're only eating, certain clean things and you're not having any of the junk, really makes you, right? Just like going through a sugar detox, it really makes you focus on the deeper things there. Like, what is really going on? That's not at a physical level. That's more energetic and emotional that I need to look at. So it's always been really eye-opening for me when I do longer fasts or I do those cleanses. It's always a chance for me to reset and really kind of take my relationship to food and understanding about what's going on there for me to a deeper level. So I highly recommend that on many physical levels. Obviously, fasting is so beneficial. And we had a guest expert, Mindy Pels, a couple episodes back that you should definitely listen to, because women need to fast differently than men, and we need to start understanding that. So listen to that episode if you're interested to learn more about that. And then, of course, this list is not complete without also mentioning all the books, all the podcasts, all the documentaries, and all the expert interviews that I've listened to, I've read, I've absorbed. There have been so many along the way that I cannot possibly list them all. One of the things that I love doing in my programs, and I will be updating this and upgrading this list in the upcoming Break Free from Sugar program, is I always have a section in the program there with all of my top recommendations for books and podcasts and documentaries, like all of these really important tools that have made the biggest impact for me. I always make sure to have that list handy for the women in that group. So if you're curious about that, another reason to come and join us in the community. And the last thing I'll share talking about community is community. That is number one. It shouldn't be last on the list. It is number one on the whole spectrum of tools that I've used, to resources that I've used to help heal myself, to help heal my relationship with food, and to continue doing this. So gathering in community, whether it's a women's circle or a program or a ceremony or a music festival, community and getting with other women who are open to growth and wanting to learn and taking personal responsibility for their lives and are there to grow. That's the kind of community that we need to be in. And when you can find yourself in that community, we can begin finally, for the first time in most of our lives, feeling safe to be vulnerable, to feel safe to be seen and heard, and be safe to actually express our true selves. Most of us have completely suppressed our true selves our whole life. And this is why in the program and in all the communities that I host and all the work that I do with my clients, this is absolutely number one at the forefront is this level of safety and openness so that we can begin being authentic. And whether that starts, I always joke on our first welcome call in the program, like show up without makeup, show up. You haven't showered in days. You're not wearing a bra. You're dressed in ratty clothes. Like these practices seem silly, but they're also such a beautiful chance for us to actually show up authentically. Maybe you're having a horrible day and you can't stop crying. Great, show up for our call. So these little things are actually much bigger than that, right? This is about being authentic and being ourselves, and we need to be in the right community to do that. So this has been mandatory. This is something I demand in my everyday life. I have various communities that I'm a part of for different parts of my life and different parts of things that I'm working through and on, that I literally couldn't live without. I could not live without these communities that are in my life that I've created and called in. And I now know at a very deep level how vital community is and the right type of community for your growth and your healing. So I'm ending this list with the biggest, most important piece is this community. There's so many tools here that I've shared, right? And I hope that some of these stood out for you. I hope that some of these resonated for you. Some of these maybe excited you or intrigued you. And now the invitation and the homework for you is to go and do some research. Go and look into some of these. And absolutely, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. If you want to know more about my use of any of these tools or the resources that I've leaned on or the people that I've worked with, I'm happy to recommend and refer. Please just send me a message. Reach out. Would love to hear from you. And as I wrap up, the final reminder, of course, is just a final reminder about coming and getting on the wait list for my upcoming program. So all these tools are coming through in everything that I'm teaching and guiding everyone through over the 10 weeks that we will be together in this incredible inner healing journey, while we also detox from sugar together, and you get the support and accountability and guidance and clarity on how to do that for your unique body. This is such a unique program, and it's such an honor and a gift from my heart to host this, and the way that I put it together that is absolutely like nothing else that exists out there. So I hope you'll get on the wait list so you can be the first to kind of see all the details. Like I said, I'm giving away some bonuses and some special gifts to those who are on the wait list, and you can find the link to that in the show notes below. And I hope you've loved this. I hope that you go and investigate some of these tools, and that you also share with me some of the tools that you've learned. I would love to hear some of the tools that maybe I didn't even talk about that have made a really big impact for you on your journey. I would absolutely love to hear about those and learn more, because I'm always looking for new things for myself, new pieces that could support me as well. Thank you so much for tuning in again to another episode. This has been so much fun to record this one. Feels like it's been like long overdue. This question keeps coming through, and I'm like, I need to record this episode. So I'm doing that now. And I hope that you loved it. And I cannot wait to see you on the next episode. Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. If you're loving what we talked about today, please remember to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone you love. And if you're ready to dive deeper into discovering your root causes and patterns that are keeping you hooked on sugar, be sure to check out our brand new free workshop series that will help you kick emotional eating for good. Find the link to download this free series and other amazing resources in the show notes below.